I just made a video that I posted on social, and I was talking about how everyone starts with zero. As agents, when we get into this business, you don't hunt, you don't fish, you don't kill, you don't eat. That's just how it goes. And no matter how successful you were in 2025, every one of us starts at zero today. And so I'm excited about that because I think it gives everybody the opportunity to be able to start from scratch. It doesn't matter what you did last year. It all depends on what you do this year. It all depends on the efforts that you put in this year to be able to get the results that you're looking for. And I was on a coaching call with Sina just a little bit ago and kicked my ass. And I thought, yep, this is what I needed to hear this morning. And hopefully he can bring that same fire today. So for those of us that are on here that are committed and motivated to be able to crush it at a high level, let's go ahead and welcome Sina back to this first year's masterclass. So Sina, take it off or kick it off for us.
Wow. Well, Nazar, thank you so much for the kind words and also sharing just a brief snippet of our call earlier today. I keep them very confidential, so I appreciate that. Team, I'm excited to connect with you today. For those of you that I've had the privilege of meeting and knowing, thank you again for your time. And for those of you that I don't know, please do me a favor, connect with me on Instagram at CEO Accredited. You can ask me any questions you'd like, and especially being part of this group, I want to do my best to help propel our success and our efforts forward in 2026. So I'm going to give you as much as I can in the shortest amount of time. And I'm going to recommend that you just write down some keywords to help you kick off your results this year. And the first thing that I recommend you do, everybody, if you haven't done this, is write down on paper how much you want to generate this year. And that's different than saying, what's your 2026 goals? I'm telling you to write down on paper how much you owe yourself. In other words, if you've never written yourself a check ahead of time, this is the time to write yourself your 2026 check. And to some of you, you're like, well, what does this guy mean? Like, just write down some random number on a piece of paper? No, I'm telling you, write down the number that you want to claim by December 31st, 2026, because with that number on paper today, I'm going to help you reverse what you need to do within the next 12 months to obtain that, and exactly the targets, exactly the activity. And those of you that are new to the business, you can mimic it verbatim. And should you fail or fall short, you'll still deliver about 70-75% of your goal, no matter how stretch of a goal you put in there, because you know yourself better than everyone else. And those of you that are experienced, then what I recommend is you can leave the things that I recommend that maybe you've done and you've graduated from or are not as effective, or you can incorporate them into your business if you got away from them because of complacency. Fair enough? Now, before I go into those details, just help me out. In the chat, let me know what city you guys are from, so I know what part of the states we're connecting with the different folks. And let's start with this. Once you have down your number of exactly what it is you want to generate from year to date, let's now go backwards to break it down. Divide that number by 12 so you have a monthly number. We need to know exactly what we're going to do per month. So whoever wants to, what's up, Fontana? Guys, I rescued my dog in Fontana, so I love that city. Corona, nice, nice. So team, what I recommend is once you have that number, how you doing, Scylla? How you doing? Thank you. Once you guys have that number, divide it by 12. Who wants to share that number with me that's okay putting that number out there? This way you don't go off of my goals. We use yours. Anybody? I'm going to make one up then. Are we, you guys want to make one up? Nazar, you want to throw one out there for me? You guys can put it in the chat. How about that? I have anonymous. If you guys put in the number, it's anonymous. Eastvale? Peter, I know you're putting some big numbers up there. Come on, man. Congratulations. So guys, let's do this.
Let's per month or per year?
Well, what's a monthly number you guys came out with based on your annual goal? Give me a monthly number, you guys. Let's see. All right, so 44,000. Fair enough. I love it. So guys, we want to do about 500K, $500,000 in 2026. $44,000. The first thing we got to do is how many deals in your area does it take to hit 44,000? In my area, we're looking at the average commission of give or take 15,000 per side. So $30,000 if we can dual end it without any discounts, if not 15K per side. That would be 3 deals for us in my area. But of course, we don't have 100% closing rate. So we need, and write this down, we do not have 100% closing rate, or write down what your closing rate is. And when I'm talking about closing, I'm talking about multiple closing areas of closing. The first is your escrows. Not every escrow pans out. Most of them should, but some people have what I would call a 5 to 20% wastage. Wastage is we put in the efforts, we got the escrow, it fell out, we were never able to recoup and resave it. It was a complete loss. 5% maybe on the low end, 20% on the high end, but you need to know your wastage. Any questions so far? Can I get a thumbs up? If we fall on that, perfect. Okay, I got one head nod, y'all. The rest is all just frozen photos. All right, cool. And I know it's live people. So we have one, the wastage of escrows. If we go one layer deeper, what is your closing rate when it comes to buyer's consultation, meaning you've invested time with someone who said they want to buy a property and you convert them to end up doing a deal with you? As well, what is your loss rate or your lack of closing on listing consultations, on obtaining a property to be able to sell and be able to build your brand? You need to know those rates for you. And the reason why these rates are very important is because when you have these numbers, you're able to, through the suspect to, and we're going to talk about that, suspect to prospect to client, by gauging, having these numbers, you're going to be able to calculate them on where you need to make small adjustments to incrementally increase your closing ratio and to decrease your wastage. Decrease your wastage. The way I want you to look at wastage, team, is because we're all CEOs, by the way, and it's important that we have the right mindset in going into 2026 and owning our business. But we're all CEOs, right? We agree with that? Can I get a thumbs up or a wave or a jump by whoever is a CEO on this screen? Okay. And the rest of us, it's all good. If you don't have any emotion for me, all that tells me is that you're a great number two. And I'm not knocking that. That just means that you need a CEO in your business because you're ready to be the vice president or you're ready to execute the next maybe written command for what we got to do to be successful. But because we're CEOs, most of us, if not all of us, own this, we need to determine, just like any business, how much product gets refunded, how much gets returned. And that's one thing that we don't look in our business, which is your wastage rate. So now that we have that, let's go to what the title of this meeting was. So for those of you that joined late, pick up the notes. But if you just plugged in, let me share with you that the title of this meeting is, in 2026, you want to convert your suspects to prospects to clients. And the reason this is important is because for years, I've been in entrepreneurial sales for 23 years, never been on salary hourly. And one thing that I committed and promised myself is that the day that I work for myself is the day that I want to make the most amount of money. And I also committed that every year I want to give myself a raise. Now, in 23 years, have I failed myself? Yes, I have. I've had 3 to 5 years that I am not able to have growth, but I've had to pivot, adapt, and recoup to come back stronger in the future years. So it's been a win, and it compoundingly grows. If you give yourself this commitment and understand this mindset, then you will also deliver those fruits. But it starts off by writing on paper how much you owe yourself in 2026. Don't wing the results of your business. Run it with intensity. Run it with intentionality. So suspects to prospects to clients, in all the years that we've been in sales, and we're all successful, we're all entrepreneurs, we all start learning prospecting. Everyone trains and teaches how to prospect, where to prospect, successful ways to prospect, ways to compound prospect. I actually learned in my business, because I'm very fortunate, when I was 23, I started selling financial services on commission in the Bay Area. I was trained by leaders that were in their mid-50s. And when I say leaders, I don't mean managers of the office. I mean like sales leaders. They were the top producers. And they kind of took me under their wings because there wasn't many folks in their young 20s doing what we were doing in financial services. And when I started, this applies to our business. When I started, I was calling the equivalent of what you call hot sheets or prospect lists. So we all have that. You can go get them. They're pennies on the dollar. Multiple different vendors out there sell them. If you guys are using services like Vulcan, RedX, stuff like that, you can get them from there. Or you can connect with your broker, if you're not a broker, to find the resources, or maybe within your teams, okay? But there is cold call lists or prospect lists that are available out there. That is what I would consider the early stage of anybody who doesn't have a lot of money that wants to be able to have enough people to start soliciting to sell their services, or at least introduce themselves to. That's how I started. And we all start with prospecting. But what happened was, whatever list that was given to me, because I was incredibly hungry, because I didn't want to fail myself, because I've been a good employee in the past, but I wanted to be a greater employee for myself. Whatever list that was given to me, I exhausted it within 1 or 2 hours. So I ran out because I was new, I was starving. I want to share this with you because if you guys are either new or experienced, but you don't have this type of sense of urgency to build your business, just re-engage that flame and fire that you had when you went to get licensed, to do that again starting today to have a different or greater success of 2026. I know most of you already won in 2025, but there's always room to grow and win as entrepreneurs and as business owners. And if we don't, we got to pivot, we got to adapt. But I exhausted this list. And what had happened was that after I ran out of the list and I didn't have a lot of money as a new agent, I started looking around the office for whatever I could find to call. And I saw that other agents would crumple up this list and throw it in the trash. I started to go into the trash, bring these lists out, fold them out, and I would just call the ones that either had the letters NH or a line through it, because agents, if they weren't home, they didn't leave a voicemail, they didn't follow up, I started calling them. I started having more success on them because it was another round. Like if you call someone in the morning, they don't answer, you call someone in the evening. Everyone knows what I mean by prospecting. But what had happened was that I didn't look at any detail or history or background to be like, well, what's the relation to the name and the info and to my product? I didn't have anything to connect it to. I just wanted a name with or without a number and or an email with a reason to contact them. And I created the reason. And once I started doing that, I recognized that I'm not prospecting, I'm suspecting. I'm ready to go through everybody to find those individuals that are ready for my services, that are willing to work with me or listen to me. And that's one of the things that we fail to do in our business. What we fail to do is that we fail to suspect because we're always looking for the warm lead, the hot lead, the referral lead. We're looking for like the cheat code, or we're looking for like the bonus or the steroid, let's say, of working out for our results. We're looking for that, forgetting that our commission is, for example, where I'm at, about 15K on average. The reason I share this with you is because if you're in an area where I coach this young man, Tel Hamilton, rock star in Colorado, making well over 300 grand in that area with multiple units, multiple volume, but the average commission was very small, 3, 6, 7K, roughly on that side, give or take. And I want you to know that even at 3, 5, 6K, that's a big exchange for someone to give you for your services in real estate, I'm saying. Now, I know a lot of us were like, no, Sina, we go through all the motions. We got to deal with like kind of like being therapists. We have multiple homes to show. We have multiple emotions where they withdraw, they change their mind, pricing, they do accept, don't accept. I understand all that. But if you summarize the volume of time you invest to have a successful outcome in our space in real estate, if you summarize that time, anyone, I'm going to ask you guys, how many visits, how many appointments, how many go backs, how many times do you have to work with your buyer or seller, escrow, and all the parties involved, lender? How many times for the transaction to become successful? If you had to put a number in there, how many times would that be? You guys go ahead and put it in the text. Is it 5 times, 10, 20, 40? Put that, in other words, how many times do you have to go back and forth until it's all panned out and it was a win for everybody? 20. I love that. Anyone else? More than 20? More than 20. All right, I'm going to go, let's just say 30. And I love that. Thank you, John. 20. I think 20 is on point. Very accurate. Those of you guys that are in the 10, 12 number, phenomenal job. You're running a really good team, really streamlined partners, meaning lenders, escrow, etc. Some of us, there's some sloppy cases. It goes back and forth. Let's say 30 deep. But if you take John's number and you divide 20 times, or whatever your numbers, that's why it's important you guys participate so it works for you, your business. If you take that 20 times and you divide that by your average commission per deal, in my case, if it's 15,000, that's give or take what, $650, $700 a deal maybe per transaction, per time. I gotta maybe go through the motions, deal with escrow, deal with a buyer, deal with a seller. Imagine getting $600 every time you have a 15-minute to maybe 1 hour, 1.5 hour exchange. Worst case scenario, you went through and you chose to do the whole inspection one day and you spent 3 hours that day at the house by choice. You can even include that. Imagine you're getting $600 an hour, $600 in exchange. I mean, do you guys recognize the amount of value you have to deliver to get that return that you're getting, and how abundant the opportunity is when, if in your business you break it down from what you want to make at the end of the year all the way down to what you do monthly and to how much your average client is, all you now got to do is say, well, how do I fill this one space or void in my business, which is with as many clients as I'm willing to take on? In other words, your number one problem in the business should be, I don't have enough clients or time that I'm able to serve, not I don't have enough clients that are needing my business. Why? Because if that's your challenge, you're prospecting, you're not suspecting. That's what you have to recognize in this business. And if we're not willing to go to that, I guess, depth or degree, or it's beneath me, or I used to do this in my previous career, or Sina, what do you mean? You want me to go door knock? You want me to go phone call? No, I'm not telling you to go door knock. I'm not telling you to go phone call. I'm telling you to do all of the things that are necessary for you to meet that number that you committed yourself in 2026. And the reason why is because the industry, the country, the environment, and our product, it is incredibly abundant to allow us to hit that. Like, in other words, team, if you guys have sold other products, like I come from financial services and a real estate broker, I sold intangible products. I sold future probability of loss, fear, concern, and need, which is insurance, that people would buy. That's not easy to invest in something that you don't know if you're going to need. It's actually very difficult. Now, imagine if you, instead of selling that, or someone who sells, and I'm not knocking this, selling cars or selling retail, selling jewelry, whatever all these things are, the one thing that everybody either dreams of owning, wanting, or has is real estate. All the other things, no one dreams, wants, or hopes they have. It's hit and miss. But there's nobody who doesn't either want to own a home or wants to be a renter, but say, I have investments in property. I've never met anybody. There's only two types of people: people who own homes and build equity and they have properties on top of it, and then people who say home ownership's a ripoff. I'm an investor, I have investment property. They're both legit arguments, but no one's ever said, hey guys, I don't believe in owning a home, and I don't even believe in getting rental income from homes. This whole thing is dumb. Nobody. People say, I can't afford a house, Sina, but I hope to get a rental property. And you guys are nodding when I say that. Then if you're nodding when I say that, start speaking to everybody you know who's renting and say, hey, you know what? I know that we've been talking about you buying a house for the last 7-8 years. Or better yet, if you're an agent on this masterclass and you're not a homeowner, you got the best edge to crush it in this space, because you're able to tell all your prospects, hey, listen, I don't own a home. You don't own a home. I'm going to get you an investment property. That's where we're going to start building this equity deal together. Now, if you do own a home, then it's easier to convert people back to saying, hey, we start that process as well. But I want to let you know there is no excuses. They're both teed up opportunities for us. We just have to present the win. You also have to take yourself out of the space and of the mindset of being a real estate salesperson or a real estate broker. You have to get yourself out of that. Also, realtor, get yourself out of that. You know what you are? You are a commissioned advisor. You're a commissioned advisor. There is no difference between you and an attorney. There's no difference between you and a surgeon. There's no difference between you and an athlete, you and an actor. There's no difference. Because there are actors that are struggling. There are athletes that are struggling. There are attorneys that suck. There are surgeons that are scared to be under the knife of. This is a fact. They're all commissioned advisors. They're experts. That's what you are. But we've been sold to be real estate salespeople. We've been sold that. Sell yourself that you're an advisor. Once you sell yourself that you're an advisor, you're going to start to create your worth. You're going to stop chasing. You're going to stop chasing. And the reason why I say stop chasing is because once you cross that bridge to recognize that you're an advisor, and once you do the examples of what we went over in this masterclass to identify how much it is you want to earn and how you got to earn it, you're going to start to elevate your time, your worth on your time. You're going to elevate the worth on your time. So then you're going to graduate from the tasks that aren't giving you the greatest ROI and start scaling in the tasks that are giving you the greatest rewards. Does that make sense, team? Now, if you're wondering, where do I suspect from, Sina? I want you to ask a different question. Where can I not find suspects from? Like, I want you to know, team, when I trained my agents, we went to Yelp and we got clients. And if you're wondering, how do you go to Yelp and get clients? You guys know how to go to Yelp and get clients? Let me tell you how savage we are because we're hungry. We go to Yelp and we look for anyone who puts negative reviews for agents. And we hit them up and say, hey, I'm sorry you had a poor experience with Johnny Bobo. My name is Sina. I'd love to help you on your next transaction. And by coincidence, are you looking now or know who I can help today? They come back and say, what are you talking about? I'll put them a screenshot of exactly where I got that information and remind them. Now, all of a sudden, we built a relationship. What's your email? Let me put you into my CRM. Let me give you the market updates. Let me give you anything of value. Let me stay top of mind. Write down top of mind. And then equals, put TOM. And then space, put FERRY. If you guys read that, it just says top of mind equals Tom. And then I put Ferry. And I have to give credit to Tom Ferry because Tom and top of mind is engraved into my strategy and planning because of Tom Ferry. So team, I got 7 minutes. I can go on into more, but I want you to know, stop limiting where we're trying to get our prospects from and start eliminating where you shouldn't get them from. So any lists, any organization, any groups, how many groups are you guys a part of on LinkedIn? How many groups are you guys a part of on Facebook? And if it's not enough, my question to you is, why not? Are they too expensive? They are free. Like I want you to know, I smile like this, team, because it is so abundant when you're in commission sales that when I see people that are struggling, it's for 2 reasons. One of 2. Either one, they just don't know what they got to do. And I respect that. Because there is a statement that says, and write this down, this is going to help people who have an ego. I had an ego. I grew up feeling I'll never learn from anyone else. I knew everything. No one can teach me. I was that guy. I won't spend money for seminars. I don't need a coach. I was that guy. And my manager or my upline invested in me and took me to something called a Tom Hopkins boot camp. Guys, 23. If you guys don't know who Tom Hopkins is, this guy's old school. He's probably 80 something now, but one of the old school leading sales guys from 30 years ago. I went to one of his trainings. He opened up my mind to things that I didn't know. And write this down. You don't know what you don't know. Write that down because you got to believe that statement. And there's 2 reasons why we struggle in this business. One is because we don't know where to get the resources from. It's not always about money. It's about putting in sweat equity to create what it is you want. And then the second reason why is because we are not disciplined to do what it is we want to do. Our habits are preventing us from doing what it is we want to do. And they're negative habits. And sometimes we don't know that they're negative habits. But if people around you are telling you certain cues, or you recognize that you might be waking up too late in the morning, or you're not staying up late enough to get your business done, or you're the quickest one to stop prospecting even though your calendar looks empty, these are all cues of lacking discipline. So it's one of those 2 reasons. There's no other reason. It's never due to a lack of money. It's never due to a language barrier. It's never due to anything, my lack of skill in this business. It's not. Because I promise you, you know more about the home buying and selling process than any one of your clients do if you have a license and they don't. I promise. So you already have a 10x level of confidence and skill over the people that you're serving. The difference is that if you have not made $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, $700,000 a year, if you never made that type of income, you don't know potentially how much value to put on your time to be able to increase your return with the people that you interact with. And you have to take that risk and sell it to yourself of that's what you're worth, because you're the CEO of your business. That's what you're going to pay yourself. That's why I asked you guys to share your numbers with me, not because I want to call people out, because I want you guys to be confident in what it is that you're promising yourself to deliver in 2026. It's like when people say, hey, raise your hand in a meeting, and some people don't raise your hand. You're a spectator. I'm not knocking you. You're a spectator. And then some people raise their hand and they raise it like this. You're kind of unsure. And then the people that raise it like this, or they fist pump their neighbor, or they jump around, those people are fired up. Why are they fired up? Because they've either gone through enough experience and pain to understand how great it is today, or they're on momentum and they want to keep that momentum going. We get to choose to be there. All of us have dealt with bullshit. All of us have dealt with pain. All of us have dealt with loss. All of us have dealt with being the underdog. Channel all that adversity into advantage, and 2026 make it a record-breaking year, team. Thank you so much for the time you give me. I got 3 minutes. Any questions, anything I can help you guys, anything I can provide you guys before we go, connect with me on Instagram, team, if you're not already. CEO accredited.
Sina,
Nazar. Yes,
I want
sir.
you to explain the difference between, as you said, prospecting versus, what was the word that you used?
Suspect?
Yes. Like if you were to, in one
Sure.
sentence, describe that, what would that be?
So a suspect to me is anybody that I'm around anytime that I'm willing to give myself the energy to build my business. So if I go out to eat, the server is a suspect. He's not a prospect. He's a suspect. She's a suspect. Hey, what do you want to drink? I'll take an iced tea. Man, it's such a beautiful day here. Are you local? Oh, you don't? Where do you live? Costa Mesa? Oh, man, what a beautiful area. Do you buy out there or rent? This is literally my conversation. Like, of course, they're going to, what do you want to eat? Do you want appetizer? Like, but that's my conversation. I'm not like, hey, how good is the chicken here? Is it good? Okay, good. All right, bye. We'll come back when I need you. No, it's how good is the chicken? Do you like it? By the way, you're Costa Mesa. There's a chicken place there. Do you know, really, do you rent there? Do you own there? How much do you pay? Man, it cost of living so expensive. Like that, I'm suspecting.
But Sina, that's embarrassing. I would be embarrassed to.
100%. You're right. It's embarrassing to help someone who's a renter to build equity. It's embarrassing to help someone who owns a home to get an investment property. It's embarrassing to help someone with shitty credit get better credit. It's super embarrassing. I agree with you guys. Then get embarrassed out there, because that thing fires me up. I'm not going to argue if it's not embarrassing. If it's embarrassing, embrace embarrassing. Embrace embarrassing. I think it's amazing. I wish someone did this for me when I was younger. My mom helped change my life because she didn't have what I have. She wanted us to do and be able to have things that she couldn't have. So at 23, I went to commission sales. She said, you're never going to make it, Sina, because she was never in commission sales. You're never going to make, she didn't want me to struggle. I didn't listen to her. 25, 2 years into the business, I was making more money than anyone in our family. I went and bought an Infiniti G35. It was like a dream car of mine. They call it the Nissan Skyline of Japan. And it was like 45,000 bucks. I went and bought it, no financing, because I thought I was cool. I went and bought a new nice watch for myself because I thought I was cool. And my mom said, Sina, you're wasting your money. I said, what do you mean? She's like, go buy yourself a property. I was renting, making good money. She said, go buy yourself a property. And she told me her whole dream of how if you get into real estate, you're going to do all these things. And I said, you know what? I'm going to listen to this lady. I went and got my real estate, bought property, but I still built my business where I was doing. And then real estate started building me way more success, equity, income, and wealth that I start to do both. And now I'm heavily involved more in real estate and property management. But I don't care. Embarrassing. We're the CEO. It's our business, team. It's our business. Like imagine a 7-Eleven owner comes and like someone's making fun of the logo or the paint or the store, and the owner who dropped 40, 50, 100 grand in there is like embarrassed. Like he's never going to make it. But what else? Give me another objection, Nazar. These are G-rated. These are rated G. Give me some tough ones, team. Give me some tough ones. Who's been kicked in the face enough and they're like, Sina, I don't know if 2026 I want to fight this fight again. Who's that on this call? Who's been doing this for 23 years and fired up like it's their first week? Like my wife thinks I'm crazy. And if you guys have been on my calls, I always have to reference her because we're 20 years deep in this game. And she's dealt with this machine. So she's always like, Sina, stop yelling at your clients. And I don't know. I'm fired up, team. I'm fired up. Anything else? Any feedback? No, I gotta go. The world is like it's at such an amazing place right now. Like I'm like fascinated about what's happening. Anything else? No more? Nazar, no hard ones today, bro. Come on, you guys.
Bro, I think it's interesting, like just from the foundation of it, like we're on this call here. There literally could be hundreds of people on this call, and there's 31 of us. And out of the 31, maybe 12 have their cameras on. And I know it's something small, but just even that small thing of like, hey, I'm in a place, I'm committed. I don't care if you're driving, I don't care what you're doing, but just not even like turning your camera on tells me, and this is just my story. I'm not saying it's reality, and I don't mean to offend anybody out there. We're in a very, we offend very easily, unfortunately. But it's like, are you committed or are you just interested?
Oh, I like how you phrase that. I like how you phrase that.
Are you committed or not? I mean, if you are, then do the things. Be embarrassed. Make yourself uncomfortable. I don't care if you have, if you're dressed up or not, like it doesn't matter. Like be all in. And I'm
You
talking
know,
about myself as well, you know?
Nazar, I appreciate what you said, and I just want to piggyback some, and then I'm gonna let you guys go because I know you guys don't have questions, and if you guys are rock and roll, I love that you are. It's amazing. But there's a couple things. One is behind me. I got this poster for my business partner Matt Franchini. He got this for me. It said above it says yesterday, below it says tomorrow, and in the middle it says now, and they're both crossed out. And this is I believe in this because none of us are promised tomorrow. None of us are promised tonight, team. That's what's crazy. We're not promised dinner. Like I'm not trying to sound like, oh no, this is real. We're not promised dinner. So there is no like putting things on the back burner. And Nazar talked about embarrassed. Let me tell you guys what was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for me to need to use the gym to shower because I didn't have a shower. That was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for me to have to take an iron into 24-hour Nautilus. See, back then it wasn't called 24 Fitness, it was called 24-hour Nautilus. It was embarrassing to go with an iron in there and iron one of two button up shirts because that's all I had for business. It was embarrassing wearing Dickies khakis because those were my khakis. Those were what was embarrassing for me when I started selling in entrepreneur sales, Nazar. When you asked, is it embarrassing? So if you guys are embarrassed about like saying the wrong thing or being too pushy or too hungry to win, then I would reevaluate like what is the significance of you leveraging your license in the business. I'm not saying you got to question if you're going to be successful or not because you're already successful. You have to ask yourself what is my main end goal leveraging this license? And for me, every time I used the license, I was an advocate for things going well for our industry. Whenever my license wasn't being used, I was a volunteer. And this is my profession. This is my profession. I'm not a volunteer. I'm not the guy that at a group needs to tell everyone what I do because I'm like salivating for a client. I'm the guy that is quiet and they're like, who the hell is this random dude? And they go look at me and say, oh shit, who is this random dude? And the reason why is because I spent 15 years letting the world know what I do because I did not want to struggle like I did prior to getting licensed. Like, this is what's wild to me. This license costs us $500. You have to tell yourself, how much is it worth? The state thinks it's worth $500. But as the practitioner, there's some clients I coach and I know they're making $3 million with this real estate license. So let's say 3 million is too far of a reach for us to imagine what it feels like to make $1 million every 4 months. Like, I want you guys to start feeling $250,000 a month, what that feels like. Let's say that's too far of a reach. How about a third of that? What does it feel like to make $1 million? Some of you guys are doing it, you know that. The ones that are not, give yourself that opportunity. Do the math. Get embarrassed. Have some fun. Nazar, thanks.
Sina,
Be safe, team.
I know
Thanks.
he's got to go, but if you want to stay for a second, I want to just drive that point home a little bit more. I know that sometimes we don't think about that. I think that sometimes we don't give ourselves the opportunity to dream. And maybe it's because we are afraid of letting ourselves down. And maybe I'm speaking for myself, but sometimes I think it's sad that we don't have confidence in ourselves to get the things that we would love to get. Right? If you think about how your life would change if you were to add more money to your bottom line. I'm not saying that money is all the end all be all. It's not. But I most certainly believe that if we dreamt a little bit bigger, that then maybe we would give ourselves the opportunity to have hope that we can accomplish those things. Like if you think about if you really did I don't know a lot of people that have made over $1 million net profit. And imagine just for a moment if you did, how your life would change, how your family's life would change. I think there'd be some big changes. And the cool thing is that we're on this business, we have the opportunity to make that, independent of what part of the country you're in, right? You can, we all can. I think we all got in this business because of the opportunity of not being able to be capped with our income potential. We have the opportunity to be able to make more than most doctors and lawyers and accountants and all these other, fields that require lots of energy and time and schooling. And it's all up to us. No one else is going to do it for you, right? You have to make that decision. And I said uncomfortable because it's embarrassing to be uncomfortable. And that feeling of embarrassment is an internal thing to try to protect you, right? It's your subconscious mind trying to protect you from looking stupid. However, that thing that it's protecting you yourself is causing you harm, right? Our DNA is set up to where we are like, imagine if you were in the jungle and you're being hunted by animals, you got to be super high, vigilantly aware of what you stepped on or like where you put your hand. Because if you put your hand somewhere, there'd be a big old snake there that would bite your hand off, or a spider that would bite you, or whatever. We're not in the jungle, right? We're not in an area where every step we take, there might be a landmine that might blow off and we die. But our brains don't know that. So our brains fabricate things that cause fear. And that fear is a high motivator to stop us from doing things. But the cool part of it is that if we overcome that fear by realizing that there is really no physical harm, our egos might be bruised a little bit. But if you come from a place of saying, hey, listen, I'm here to help that waiter or that whomever it is at the grocery store that you might come across. Like when you guys are at the store or wherever you are, I know you've all had this experience as agents, and you hear someone talk about real estate. Do your ears perk? And then what do you do about that? Do you say, oh man, I wish I can go talk to him? Or do you go talk to him? Right? Are you willing to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation so that you can become the person you want to become? Are you willing to say, that fear that I have in my head that's stopping me from doing X, I know that fear is not serving me. It is not helping me. I know my brain thinks it's helping me to try to keep me safe, but I'm in no real danger. And therefore, I'm willing to put myself out there. I'm willing to be uncomfortable. I'm willing to make that uncomfortable phone call. I'm willing to knock on that door and get someone slamming the door in my face, because I know that by doing those uncomfortable things, it gets very comfortable. You become comfortable at doing it because you realize that when you did it and it was scary, your armpits all sweaty, you're all, oh my gosh, this is so scary and spooky. Nothing happened. Nothing negative happened. Nothing bad happened. And you start building calluses on people that might say no to you, that will say no to you. And the awesome part of it is the more no's you get in your life, the closer you are to a what? That's right. The closer you are to a yes. It's all a numbers game, right? It's all a numbers game. So the more you do, the more chances you have at success. The successful people out there, all they've done is they've had more failures than you. They've had more no's than you have. They're willing to take risks that you haven't been willing to take at this point. We're in a brand new year, ladies and gentlemen. This is a brand new opportunity to start all over again. This is the day at which we can say, I will no longer tolerate my fear, my anxiety, my, anxiousness, whatever it is, stop me from doing the things that are uncomfortable so that I can get what I truly want. And so we're going to get out this phone call right now or the Zoom call. And I encourage you to do something, whatever it is that feels uncomfortable, do it. Whatever makes you have fear, push through and do it. And I know that if you do that, like I had a friend say, "Oh, Nazar, with that same mindset, you should go jump off and do that cliff diving thing where you like do the pendulum swing, like 120 feet or whatever it is, or go do skydiving." I'm like, no, because that's a legitimate fear that I'll die. I'm not saying go do that. Now, if you want to, that's crazy. Or that, go for it. If you want to go jump yourself in a freezing cold bath, cold plunge, whatever, go for it. Whatever. That's not me. I'm not telling you to do that. What I am telling you to do is get uncomfortable when it comes to doing something with sales. Go make that phone call that you have been dreading or are unafraid of or are afraid of. Go prospect. Go pick up a list of all the people that have been in their homes for 7 to 10 years and go have that conversation with them. Right? Everyone moves 7 to 10 years. I had this conversation with my team yesterday, or was it 2 days ago? I think it's 2 days ago. Who has done anything about it? Who on my team has gotten that list and made a phone call, knocked on the door? That's right, nobody. Why? Because it's inconvenient, because they're afraid, because they'll get to it next week. And hence, your bottom line, your bank account is in direct correlation with your efforts. Anyway, I appreciate you guys being on here a little bit longer. I'm grateful for you. I think for 2026, the year of the horse is going to be awesome. And I believe in all of you. I hope that we believe in us too. I think we can do it. I think we can have an amazing year. So let's go get it. Let's go get it, folks. Okay. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you guys next week. Have an amazing day. Bye.